Okay, Misha. Hello, everyone. This is the Billionaires with another episode 4, actually, of Truth Be Told. And the name of this topic is Be Unfuckwithable. Breaking the nice girl habits to master confidence, self-respect, and worthiness. And I picked this topic because you and I, everywhere, some people on here, y'all already know about myself and Misha. Y'all already know we already named out nice girl and what naive girl, let people run over them, those type of women. But we're finna break that habit, and we're gonna show you. Well, we've already broke that habit. We're finna show you how to actually master that, and give you some insight on how we, master this, and then like self-respect and knowing our worth, showing our worthiness. So, without further ado, I'm gonna just get off. Misha, you want to go ahead and take over?
So my name is Misha, for those of you who don't know, and as she said, we're working on. I'll say working on because I feel like it's every day I'm a work in progress. We're working on mastering the naive good girl thing. You know, it's okay to be a good girl, but being naive most of the time don't work out so good for you. So we have to learn to um one, be real with ourselves, be true to ourselves, see things for what they are, and move accordingly. Sometimes I'm sure you guys have heard the saying, sometimes the best thing for you to do can be the hardest thing, and that's true. And that's kind of where I'm at in my life. Um the things that I know I need to do, I know would be best for me. It's kind of hard, it's kind of difficult because I'm comfortable because of what I'm used to. And I think it's just one of the characteristics of being a human. We get comfortable, we get familiar with things, and we want to stick to that because it's a comfortable space. But sometimes we have to get uncomfortable. We have to do what don't feel so good in order to get to a better space. I was telling Aya earlier when we were talking, you know having a baby is not comfortable, but you go through the process. You push, you push, you push, and then something beautiful comes out. It's not easy, but we have to do the hard part in order to get to what's easy. So that's where I'm at with in my life. I'm ready to do what's hard, and I again, I believe that it's going to be a work in progress until we can't do it anymore. And once upon a time, I didn't understand the saying a work in progress. I didn't understand what that meant when I was younger. I would always hear people say, old people, well, when I was a kid, the adults, they would be like, "How are you doing?" And someone would be like, "I'm a work in progress." I never understood what that meant. And as I became an adult, and I would go to different places, and I would see, places under construction, right? I would see signs that say work in progress, work in progress. And so it resonated with me that a work in progress is just something being worked on, something being made better. And so as long as I'm alive, that's something that I want to add to my things of doing things to do. I want to be a work in progress because there's always room for improvement. I don't care where you are in your life. I don't care who you are. There's always room for improvement. And especially for myself, I'm just a work in progress, and that's what I plan on being. So yeah.
All right, that was good. So, that was our introduction. We do have another guest. She was actually our first guest on our podcast, Miss Shana Cox. She is also the author of Calm as You, and we have her on again as a guest, and we're just so happy and excited to have her here. You want to say anything, Shana, before we get started?
Sure, I'll go ahead and reference the topic of how we broke the nice girl persona. So yes, again, my name is Shana Cox. I am the author and publisher of Calmest You. Sorry about that. And I would have to say that for me, when I broke free of society's expectations, is when I let go of the nice girl persona. Having grown up heavily religious, I was taught who I was, who I should be. how I should behave, and how I should react. All these things that would end up at a very early age that would really influence who I became. And so what I ended up realizing as I got older and as I became a mother and as I started going through life's journeys, that being the nice girl only ended up leaving me in default or lacking. So it took a long time. It took me, my children getting older and going through different life experiences. It took me going through relationships. It took me going through a marriage to realize that being the nice girl is a facade. Is not actually genuine if you are holding yourself back in order to appease someone else. I was also very naive growing up. I did not have very much street smarts or street sense. And what ended up happening was because I knew being kind and being nice is important, I didn't realize what was happening when you get to, that it could be taken advantage of. I didn't understand that, which goes back to right understanding, part of the Noble Eightfold Path. So for me, it was just like, okay, no, don't look outside of yourself for validation anymore, right? And learn to know myself. So just connecting with my higher self. So little things like talking to myself throughout the day, saying thank you to myself throughout the day, just being present, right, throughout the day. And now, I mean, I can definitely say that even though my transformation has been extraordinary, because people will attest to my transformation, I will say that it did not come without the ups and downs.
Wow. I can agree with that.
Everything has its exact opposites. Like you say, being naive, being the good girl. I heard you say you didn't realize that what comes with you just worked on being the good girl, and that came with being naive. Sound like what I'm hearing some of the time. And you didn't realize the opposite effect. Everything has its exact opposites, because sometimes trying to be the nice girl, as you said, you could get ran over, you could get used and abused, and you want to remain the good girl, which is, most of the time the naive girl versus, standing up for yourself. When you stand up for yourself, people will look at you as the mean girl. When you use your voice, people look at you as the mean girl, as the manly person. But come on, I have to stick up for myself. I have a voice. I have an opinion. I matter. I don't have to be a yes person. I don't have to go along with everything. I'm not a dead fish. I'm not a tree. I can move. I don't have to just go with the freaking flow, So yeah.
Yep, that's good. And so what you all have heard are the stories of Misha and Shayna, right? And I wanted to spend a little bit extra time on this introduction because I don't want we are human. We have human experiences, right? And we don't come to you as perfect. We have problems. And even though this podcast is called Truth Be Told, it's some things that we will keep to ourselves, right? Because we can't tell you everything that go on with our lives. Like, I've cried off camera to Misha. She's all the way in California. But I was able to pick up that phone, and she was able to walk me through what I was going through. So it's like we're coming to you guys as humbly as we can. And you see so many people would judge you on where you're at, but not where you're going. We're here not to change that viewpoint if you choose not to see it, but we're here just to show the journey in between that creates character, creates self-awareness, empathy, and who we're meant to become. Now, that nice girl area of that nice girl word, it doesn't mean, okay, we're finna be bitches or we're finna be mean girls. No, we're showing you that we are now self-aware of who we are. And we're coming out that character as nice girls, and we're setting boundaries now. And with that comes obstacles to people who so used to running over us. So we're all going through different seasons in our lives. Let's not normalize judging people in the season you see them in. Let's just accept people who they are. And please, we're going to show you guys, hopefully through this podcast on this episode, on how to break those habits and master confidence, self-respect, and worthiness. All right. So, Misha, Shayna, y'all have anything else before I go on?
No, go for it.
Everybody has a past, everybody has a future, is life. No one is here. No one should judge anyone, and if I told my whole life, like you wouldn't have time to tell my whole freaking life. I mean, what I go through at part of being human is going through the emotions of emotions. Emotions is movement. Sometimes I'm sad, sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I feel good. But ultimately, I create my own happiness is my default mood mode, and that's what I'm gonna always resort back to. And that's just that. Again, things happen in life. We're all human. We all know that we're on the journey to peace and healing, but we're not perfect. And I truly believe that at some point that certain people have mastered their emotions to where they don't allow things. Man, I know certain people, it's very few people in this world, but it's a select few that have mastered their emotions to where they don't allow nothing or nobody or anything to take them away from a peaceful state, such as the Buddha and other different spiritual people who are more in tune with them. See, I'm still kind of like straddling the fence between tuning all the way into myself and then being in and of the world. So therefore, I still have worldly things that happen, but my end goal is to be at a space where I don't allow anything, anybody to take me away from a peaceful, happy state, but I haven't made it there yet. So in the meantime, hey, I may cry, I may get mad, I may get whatever, but it's only going to be for a moment.
Beautiful.
So.
All right. So what? We're gonna spend a few minutes before we actually get into the segments. I really want to just give the motivation and purpose behind this topic. And Shayna, if you and Misha, if one of you or whoever want to start first, just let's start with motivation first. Just give us like some how that resonates with you on your personal journey, your empowerment, and how does that inspire you? What inspiration does that have on you? Either one of y'all could jump in. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
And this motivation for this topic of unfuckwithable, breaking the nice girl habits.
Want me to go, Shayna?
Well, it doesn't matter.
Well, go ahead. I look like you were thinking. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I am thinking because in order to be empowered, you do need to find inspiration, right? And I make everything. I'm just going to take it to today. A lot of our young people are looking for inspiration. I mean, we look to our celebrities, our musicians, our basketball players, football players. We look to people outside of us for inspiration all the time. So I'm gonna bring it back to looking to yourself for inspiration, right? Your body heals itself, right? We are this existence is beautiful. You have wonderful things about you that are lovable and unique and authentic. So embracing those things, embracing yourself, begin to inspire yourself, push yourself into limits, things that you never would have done before, and then congratulate yourself and tell yourself thank you. But the inspiration, I want people to begin thinking of inspiration of something that grows within and something that you can cultivate each day in real time within the relationships that you have everywhere you go. And also I want to say, also just a side note, make sure that you get to know yourself and forgive yourself. Because again, if there's something holding you back, and only you know what it is, right? It could be something big that you did or something light that only you know. Letting go, right? The art of letting go and being not attached. It brings full fulfillment, really.
Misha, what was the guy in Rome? What did he say? That was so powerful. I could say it, but I want you to say it the way you told me about Ashley not letting things.
So this guy, I heard him speaking to someone else, and he said, I don't forgive people. I don't forgive nobody. I'm like, huh? And I'm like, how do you do that? I had to butt in on the conversation because I'm like, wait a minute, you don't forgive people? And he said, no, it's no reason to forgive people. He said, because I don't allow anything to bother me to where I have to forgive. And then I said, okay, I like that. He said the energy and effort that goes into forgiving and letting go, I don't have time to do that because I'm too busy trying to do other things to benefit me, to better myself, to better my life, to better my family. So forgiving a person, getting over, thinking about letting go. He said I don't have the energy to put into that. So I said, okay, so I took it as if forgiving is letting go, detachment. Okay, again, everything has this exact opposite. You don't have to detach from something that you're not attached to. You don't have to let go of something that you're not holding on to. So it's like I never pick it up. I never accept it. I never receive it. I never take it. So it's nothing to let go of. It's nothing. And I like that analogy. Again, everything is about perception. So I said, so that's when I told Ian, I said, that's something I'm gonna have to use in my life. Once upon a time, another thing, I met this girl and she was married and she got a divorce. And she's like, who is that? She was saying her ex. She's like, I don't even know him. And I'm thinking, what is wrong with you, girl? But again, we have to tell ourselves things to make our life more easier. As you said, Shana, it's about going within. And once we go within, whatever we come out with, it's like sticking your hand in a hat or a bag. You don't know what the heck you're gonna get out. But
Woo.
whatever you're gonna get out, you have to deal with it, right? It's in your hand.
That's
So
right.
so I'm glad we're having this conversation because the guy told me that, and for the past couple of days I've been, I met another guy. My little time in Rome, it weighed on me hard and heavy, right? It's like all the work that I've been doing, I've took like 100 steps forward to take 200 back. It's like I got to start over. But guess what? The beauty of that is once you know, you know. It's like riding a bike. It's like driving a car. Once you know, you know. So I know what to do to get myself out of the funk. But
That's
God,
right.
like I met another guy. He told me he's like 65. He said, I was walking, I was feeling bad. I was holding my head down. He was like, what's wrong with you? Hold your head up. Keep your head up high. You got to be strong, sister. He said it's gonna be bumps in the road, but you can get over them. And you look up. He said you holding your head down. You'll look up and years will have passed you by. So hold your head up. And again, it's all about the concept, our perception. So I'm glad we're having this conversation because again, I've been contemplating on how I can let go, get over, get out of a situation that I've been dealing with for years. Shit. I've removed myself from it by being miles and miles away, but by going back to Rome, I put myself back in the same situation around the same people. And so it's weighing on me all over again. But I'm reminded of what the guy said. It's nothing for me to let go because I'm not even gonna grasp it. I'm not even gonna uh pick it up. I'm not even gonna hold on to it. So guess what? I have nothing to let go of. So, and that's what I'm gonna tell myself. So yeah.
Yeah, you definitely have to psych yourself up in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I think letting go is non-attachment, right? And so we should be in a state of non-attachment, and we should be teaching this to our children very young. We should have been taught this very young. Unfortunately, we haven't. So there, and yes, and it's true. We do attach energy to people, events, and so forth and so on. So when it's time there are
to let go.
there are injustices that are put on us too, in a way that's wrong. So we do also have to forgive, even if it's not just ourselves or the other person. It's forgiveness just means letting go of the energy that you attach to it, right? So that's what I mean. And the guy that said that, that's wonderful, because he doesn't have the attachment. But so many of us, because our emotions, I mean, we come out of the womb. Well, I don't really think we come out of the womb crying, but unfortunately, it seems like we do. But we come out of, emotions is our base nature. So if we're not taught very early how to understand them and how to, then yeah, it will get out of control, and we'll be attaching different things. And then we'll be 40 years old wondering how to undo all of it. So yes, the goal is to be with your children, with my children, with people. We want to be teaching non-attachment. We want to be teaching, okay, my daughter gets a scrape. It's the end of the world. And I'm like, okay, honey, let's evaluate the the situation. Does that level of emotion, is it required right now? And then she'll be like, but it hurts. And I'm like, oh yes, it hurts. I understand. Well, okay, let's deal with it. Let's clean it off. But bringing the energy, being that balance. That's it. That's it. Ultimately, you just want to be in yourself and towards others, with your children, with the balance, right? So if they're coming in hot, you want to come in and balance everything out, right? And then it kind of just, it all goes together.
And I was listening to you. I had to go get a heater because I'm getting cold. My feet stay cold, so I had to go get me a little floor heater real quick. But I was listening, and I was listening how you say what you have to tell yourself. I was telling Misha today before we got on. I was telling her and then this is another reason why people think like I'm this nice girl or naive person, because I alchemize things that disturb my peace, and I turn it into something positive. And not only that, but I tell myself, even I used to say I don't trust people. I no longer say that. I used to say somebody betrayed me. I no longer say that. And the reason why I say it and look at it differently is because, okay, somebody does something to me, and that you would say, quote unquote, betrayed your trust. It's like they didn't. They actually, what is the course of, what am I looking for that word? But they just change your course of direction. Now that they appeared into your life. So now you know what you don't want and what you want to sell, right? So you trust them to be yourself, but at the end of the be themselves. But at the end of the day, you have to trust yourself, because now I'm no longer letting anybody come into my circle. I trust myself enough to be having enough discernment not to let anybody else come in. So I look at trust and I look at betrayal as different. Most people would be like, oh, you're naive, you delusional, whatever. But whatever I can use to make it into a positive experience, some people can use that and be bitter. Treat other people, cut other people who hasn't cut them. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather transmute that energy, because I'm an alchemist. I alchemize my energy into something positive. That's how I, live my life, because I'm 46 years old. I didn't have a good childhood, right? But from now to the day I die, I will be in peace, because I trust myself enough to let certain people come to my life. And I trust my discernment. I trust my intuition. I'm not overlooking anything no more. So instead of us always talking about they broke my trust, try trusting in yourself.
That's it.
And it's trust that people are going to show up as they are and who they are. Trust them to be them, and you won't be disappointed. So that's how I look at it now. And I'm breaking that nice girl area. I'm not being mean to anybody. I'm just setting boundaries now. And it will trigger a lot of people who has crossed those boundaries before.
Absolutely.
I like when Shayna said, sometimes we have to kind of trick or tweak our brain. Brainwash hypnosis is a real thing, right? And I think we have to do it in order to erase the negativity, in order to erase the negativity and embrace the positivity, to erase where we have been that we didn't want to go, the things that we didn't want to see. I hear a guy, one of my favorite rappers, Lil Baby, he say in one of his verses, I try my best not to remember. He's a thug or whatever. And I realize a lot of guys do that. Like, that's the way they do the things that they do. Like, they don't want to remember it. And I see a lot of people don't like to talk about things. That's one of my problems with the person that kind of I shared my life with. Like, they don't like to talk about things. But I always look at, like, how can we move forward? Like, if us three ladies had an issue, how can we move forward without talking about it, without sorting it out, without it's kind of like organizing, getting, figuring it out, and now getting on the right track. How do you move forward without talking about it, without sorting it out and getting past? It's like you kind of have to talk about it, because when you sweep it up on the rug, excuse me, per se, or just forget about it, then it will easily come up again because we haven't addressed the issue. But I realize those people that you can't talk to about a situation or a problem that you have, those are the type of people that I don't want in my life. Because, Shane, if I can't discuss with you an issue that I had with you, or something that you did that I don't like, or vice versa, if I did something you don't like, if we can't discuss it as adults,
Yep.
then what's the purpose in us being in each other's life? Because if we can't discuss the issue, then that tells me that you're not willing to fix it. Okay.
That's
And the brainwash thing, the telling yourself is something, that works, but we have to lean towards that. But I can't tell myself, oh, Shayna is a good friend. I can't tell myself that, let's say, Tracy, a girl named Tracy. I can't tell myself that Tracy is a good friend when Tracy has been betraying me, talking behind my back. I'm not gonna brainwash myself on no shit like that. People get things confused. Like you said, we have to see things and people for who they are. But we have to brainwash and tell ourselves things in order for us to heal, grow, and move forward. And healing, growing, and moving forward, we need we need good things. We need positivity. We need good energy. We need healing energy. And we have to remove certain things from our life. Some things you can't just uh trick yourself.
that's
Some
right.
things you have to be real about. You didn't get what I'm saying?
I was gonna say what you were mentioning, with the fact that some people aren't ready. And if you're not, it's just a little bit of feedback. Sorry. Okay, so okay. Yeah, some people aren't ready to admit. And I think, and I really think, because when you go back to the 12-step program for, Alcoholics Anonymous, the very first step is admitting you have a problem. And I feel like you don't have to be, have an addiction to be able to use that concept. I don't care what it is. Like, if you can't admit you have a problem, then how will you ever address it? You won't. So again, it's that internal understanding that we have to have. And so I think that once people
Admit.
it's the truth. It's the truth. You're digging in to find the truth, whatever that is, but the facade and the fakeness and that's what's on top, and that's what we can't see. We don't want to let go of. Well, I don't really love this person I'm with, but I don't want to be alone. So you know what I'm saying? But you're miserable. You're getting whatever's happening to you, or because you just won't admit the truth. It's not working, or things need to change, or there needs to be some sort of transition that hasn't taken place. So there's all these things that go on top, but ultimately, yeah, when you dig down, you should just find the truth. And if you can't, because there's stuff in the way, then you gotta go through that. You gotta dig underneath that. And then once people do, then they're willing to deal with it. But if you can't even get to that first part of maybe there's something about me I need to look at, if you can't if you can't even have that conversation with yourself, then that's the person who's not ready. So do you keep yourself and your energy get pouring into people who are not ready? You almost can't, unless it's your babies, right? Unless it's your children, somebody that you just have to do. We got to look out for our kids. But other people, but listen, I thought I had a lot of kids. I got 4. But to have 8, how much energy that requires. So you really need to make sure that it's only going in the places that you have to put it in. Because again, we only have 24 hours in a day. So the people who are just pulling the energy that you need to keep and hold on to, those people you do have to. And it doesn't mean you don't love them anymore. It doesn't mean you don't care about them. It doesn't mean you don't like them or don't want to be around them. Again, like she said, boundaries. You have to set boundaries for your energy, right? If you had a farm or a piece of land, usually people put fences around so that people, everything isn't just coming in and taking, because that what you have is really meant for that group that you're supporting. That's energy too. Okay. So everything applies and everything, it still goes together. So that's what I would say. And listen, I've got friends and we speak every few months, or we don't love each other any less, because guess what? Shayna has a lot of stuff Shayna's working on right now that I'm trying to figure out. And then so are they. So giving each other space, the people you love and care about the most, just give them space to grow. Right. And then they either will or they won't.
And I'm glad you're speaking of will. So, Shayna, can you just give us a little insight? You wrote Calm as You, right? You're the author. So, can you give us an insight? And when I think of Calm as You, I think of Monopoly. If you haven't got that book, you need to go get it by Shayna Cox, author Shayna Cox. Yeah, and it's like a roadmap. And we're talking about will. And does the will to me, well, I'm asking you, I'm asking you all, how does will and IQ, how does that, which one is greater or lesser? How would you guys rank those, the will and IQ? And Shayna, can you just pinpoint something in your book, how we can use that as a roadmap to some people, because you said the facade. A lot of people have on a mask. They're not willing to go within. They're not willing to talk about what's really bothered them, and they want you to be a Houdini and just know what's going on with them. And
you can't.
People want to let go of that facade. They want to let go, be themselves. But a lot of people won't won't allow them to do that. At least that's what they're thinking. Can you give us a roadmap based on Calm as You? At least give us one out of the 8 steps, at least one of them that we can help our viewers succeed with having the will versus the IQ of having to change.
I love that. Will is one of those words that probably predates modern language, right? And it's a concept, it's an idea, it's a state of understanding or being, right? And having will. What is will? And I also often think of the thy will be done. That to me is powerful. Okay. So if I had to relate will and what it is, like almost like a determination, right? Motivation, all those good things, I would have to liken it to, which happens to be the one that I am working on the most when it comes to the Noble Eightfold Path, is having the right effort. The ability to stay committed to a goal and be determined. What is will? It's also, it's not just what you do physically, it's also part of your psyche. It's telling yourself, I can do this. It's staying diligent, right? It's being patient and allowing time to take its course, right? Again, there's 24 hours in a day. If I expect something to grow, I have to plan it today, right? I can't plan it next year and expect that it's blossoming in full, so it's a process. So understanding that, and understanding that will, I feel like it's developed through trial in a bit, and in a way. Now, the will that you have built up might, because the way you had to build it up might be different than a person who maybe just always challenged themselves scholastically through life, and that was how they fortified their will, right? So how you do it is going to be different. But I feel like at the end of the day, the will is just that thing that keeps you going. It's the thing that gives you a reason to wake up tomorrow, right?
Do you see that we all have that will?
Of course.
No, I don't.
Well, I do, but do we have to cultivate it? That's part of what, to me, why depression is so bad. Now, I've never been clinically diagnosed with anything, but I will say depression is real. And if you're living in a state of depression or sadness constantly, then you can't live within your will. You can't operate in your will. Does that make any sense? Okay. Your will becomes whatever's floating by that moment, whatever drink it is, whatever guy it is, whatever show it is. Your will is there. It's not solid. It's not. So, and I think will is just having a will, or whatever will actually is and what it means, is so much bigger and much more encompassing than one or two little anecdotes about it. And then again, it's going to apply to each person differently.
What you have on that, Misha? What insight do you have?
So you said, you asked Shayna, do she think everyone has will? And I said no, but after hearing her answer, I agree. I think we all, and I'm so happy. This is so therapeutic for me. I'm so happy that she said, we have to go within. We must go within, because I'm a firm believer that everything that we want, the answers, the questions, the everything that we need is within us, including will. I believe that everyone has will. It's just, as she said, it's just about cultivating. It's just about diving in to get it. You know what I'm saying? First of all, you have to realize that you need it and you want it, because piggybacking off what she said, depression is real. I think that I heard a girl say that 100% of people are depressed. I don't agree with that, but again, it was the environment that we were in. I would say the environment that we were in, I would say 80% of the people in the environment that we were in are depressed. And I would say, if I had to guess, 70% of the world, because most people don't know how to deal with issues. Most people don't know how to overcome. Most people don't understand the concept of detachment. Most people don't. They definitely don't even know about. I didn't even know about what I told you. The guy told me, not even grasping, not even taking a hold of. So it's nothing to let go. It's nothing to forgive. People don't understand those type of things. We wasn't taught that. And Shayna said also that we were born crying. If you didn't cry, think about it. When a baby comes, we all have kids. We all had more than one. If a baby don't cry, they make it cry. The doctor want to see you cry. And also attachment. I've read and heard that it was studies done on newborn babies, to where when you take them from their mom, they have detachment issues. We were taught as babies to attach, emotions. Right now, that's like right now, I have a 2-year-old. If y'all come and take him away from me, that baby will cry how like he's a newborn baby. He's attached to me. Yeah. It's things that we were taught as babies, emotions, attachment, crying. These are things that we were taught. So it's the unlearn to relearn type thing. We're humans. We're creatures of habit. We do what we're taught, and when we know, like I say. And once you know something, you can't unknow it. Again, it's like riding a bike, driving a car. We all do it by default. We get in our car, we don't think, oh, I'm going to go this way to get home. We know exactly how to get there. Again, we all have children.
Yeah.
My youngest kids can say, oh, they're not driving, but they know how to get home. You know what I'm saying? It's like once you know, you know. So now we need to work on teaching and encouraging and empowering people, children, adults, everyone to have the willpower, to to have the determination, to have the motivation, to be inspired. I told you, I spoke to someone who told me, and I'm not gonna say the name, nobody inspires me, nobody encourages me. I'm like, what the fuck? Who are you? What type? How can you not be inspired or encouraged by nobody? But I tell you what, the person who told me that, they're often depressed, they're often down, they go through more things than the average person, and that's for that reason. Nothing and nobody inspires and encourages you. Are you fucking serious? So that must mean that you're God. How can nothing or nobody inspire and encourage you? That is
That's
fucking crazy. And they were saying that to make me feel bad by telling them people who inspire and encourage me, but I can never. And then I think about it, I'm talking, you know, several people, more than one person have told me that, Aya. Like, how can you be inspired? How can you be encouraged? And these people who tell me that, I promise you, they have material things, but as far as mentally and emotionally, they don't have shit. They're not broke, as far as the world can see, but as far as emotionally and mentally, they're like, huh?
I said that broken spirit.
Yeah. So I mean, it's all about going within. And I have a question, Shayna. Help me with, okay, we go within to solve our problems, but what about when our problems are is something that we allow, let's say a friend of mine who I've allowed to hurt my feelings, and I've been friends with this person for 20 years, but I really love her. I care about her. We grew up together and I want to hold on to her. How do I go within myself and fix that? And she don't want to, the things that she do, she don't want to fix it. She just want to ignore it. How do I go within? How do I fix that?
non-attachment.
Just let go.
You said the words, I love her. See what you attached
Oh,
the emotion of love, because it is an emotion. It is not, love's not just an action or a thing you do. It's also an emotion. It's complicated, right? But you attach it. Now you're on it. Now so you need to unattach. So if you know it's a friendship and you love her, you can love her from a distance, right? But how much do we, and this goes for everybody. I'm not judging, I don't judge nobody. But how much do we hurt or keep people from growing when we stay their source, when we when we allow them to stay? How can you walk if I'm carrying you? Like, so think about
right.
nature. Think about nature, just different in the animal kingdom. Some animals fall out and they get up and run because that's their nature. They know what they got to do, right? So for us, it's almost the same way. The emotions, because we're human, we have emotions. Like you said, early in life, they teach us to cry. And I just want to say this real quick. My second daughter, Layla, did not cry when she was born. She was born at home. I was over the toilet. My mother caught her, set her on my lap. She ran out to find something to cut the umbilical cord with. I'm sitting on the toilet holding my newborn, like, wow. And she's just looking around. She's just looking around, breathing on her own, doing everything. And I'm like, they don't cry. So I agree with you. And that's something else to it too. Like, we are.
Sounds like my Layla. I bet she's a tough girl.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh, and
I
the
bet
sweetest
she's a
thing.
tough
She's
girl
so
to this
sweet
day.
though.
Sounds like my Layla.
She's the sweetest thing, but she's just like me. But I said all that to say, back to it, you have to unattach the emotion. Once you unattach the emotion, everything becomes clear. I'm going to give you a little exercise to do. Google at some point an emotion chart. Okay. Emotion chart. It's a wheel that has all the emotions. And I want you to just look at it, read around it, sit it down and look at it and tell yourself, I will no longer be ruled by anything written on this motherfucking piece of paper. Because I'm attaching energy to it. They're just words. They're feelings, yeah. But when it becomes an emotion, like, okay, I get cut, it hurts, ouch, I'm crying, I'm sad, but it's gonna pass, right? But when I hold on to, well, I got hurt because he did this and caused my hurt, so now I'm gonna always point out that little wound to you that I've attached to this hurt. Every time I look at that wound, I remember what happened. So then we attach, again, we're attaching, attach. The word here is attach. So you want to be non-attached. You can do that with everybody. And I highly recommend it. Even with your own children, you have to do it. It doesn't mean you love them less or you treat them any different. You allow them to grow. You allow them, because you're not attaching emotionally, you're allowing them to experience and go through their own emotions and figure out their own emotions without attaching them back to mom's emotions, right? Or the spouse emotions.
And
does that make any sense?
It did, but I'm sitting here thinking, I think it's gonna be a little, and again, it's whatever you tell yourself is real. But I see that being difficult with the man that you've been living with. That da 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 da. I see the detachment being a little harder because the attachment is a little deeper. But I know it's possible.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, everything. Can I just say this?
Yeah,
imagine trying to learn this, Misha, behind bars. Can you imagine how hard it would be? So the problem is that it's like today we should work on things, but we put it off to tomorrow when it's definitely harder to figure it out because you can't go back. Now, it would have been nice if we got this information early, but we can't go back. So that's why present, non-attachment, allows you to be present in today. That just how you just said, you love her. We have 20 years of relationship. You know what you just did? You took yourself into the past. Mm-hmm. You're holding on to all that was. And it doesn't go away. It's real. But you're holding, you attached emotion to it. And now you're pulling it into your future as well. So it's almost one of those things you just have to be mindful, which is right. The M, right mindfulness, or right meditation. It's interchangeable.
So what do you recommend? Do you recommend the same thing? I know I'm dealing with that, and I know a lot of women deal with that as far as detaching from a man that you have kids with, that you live with. Like, how do you detach from something like that? I've done it, but then I detach, but then I come back and attach again.
I have one word for you. Can you see it? Be careful of your triggers.
Ooh, no. Okay. So I wrote a workbook, y'all. I went through my black night of the soul, right? My dark night of the soul. And I actually, had to deal with my shadow self. So I wrote 2 books, dealing with your shadow self, the hidden journey, and dealing with, going within with the dark side night of the soul. So the guy I was just with, bless his heart, he brought a lot of triggers. It triggered me, everything he did. But those triggers are, it helps you know who you are. You know what I'm saying?
If you use it right, if you recognize them.
Yeah, and then it's like those triggers that he's doing is actually helping you pinpoint what you need to work on. At least for me. And so Misha,
that's deep.
I wrote some stuff in the notes before we started, and y'all, I want to show y'all this. When I tell y'all I be writing, like.
So what do y'all, not to cut you off, so what do? You avoid the triggers?
Oh, Misha, you don't avoid them. You look at them, you take them head on, but Misha, at the end of the day, you're going to have to know your worth, baby. You going to have to know your worth. Right now, you loving that man more than you love yourself. And then, like, this is, and I'm telling you this because you know my 16-year marriage, what I went through, and then not the people in between, but the one I just left and my 16-year marriage. Those are two men I really loved and I thought were gonna be my forever, right? So this has been recently, and this is what I had to tell myself when I was going through dark night of the soul. You failed me the moment I had a question. You and your loyalty, because that's something he never had to do with me. He never had to question me or my loyalty. If he did, he was projecting, trying to make, trying to deflect. I guess that
Of
is.
course.
Yeah, but I wrote this down in the notes. I said, don't ever leave something good for what you think is better, because once you realize what is better is not actually good, your good has found better.
I like that.
Right.
So I'm gonna say that again real slow. Don't ever leave something good for what you think is better, because once you realize what is better is not actually good, your good has found better.
That
So
is understanding.
yeah. So do you understand what I mean by that, Misha? Can you what did you get from that? What I just said?
People, and it's not just about relationships.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor, but when you let go of something that's good for something that you think is better, what is good have actually found better. So when you let go of something, it may not be available for you once you let go of it.
That's right.
And you'll have to deal with what you got. So
But the
that's
key
what
word is what you're just saying. What is the key word you keep saying?
let go.
Let go. That's all you gotta do. It's just that simple. And then take those triggers that what he's doing, those triggers, those triggers are they pinpointed what I need to work on within myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 45. I just realized I had mom and dad issues. I wrote my mom and dad a poem last night.
It's funny you said that. I was just saying the other day
He's not
when
hurting you, he's helping you.
I was thinking, right? I was raised by my grandma. She died when I was 9. I can remember 6 and 7, like a little girl sitting outside, wondering where my mom and daddy was at. It was nowhere to be found. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one reason why I have so many kids. Like I grew up alone, so I wanted a big family. So, like you say, everything in life it means something. Like my childhood has a lot to do with my adulthood.
That's right.
I grew up alone, so I wanted a lot of kids, and I didn't want my children. It wasn't a good feeling being the only child. Like I would get bored, I would get lonely. My kids, they don't get bored and lonely. They got each other. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good thing. It's not easy being a mom, especially being by myself with 7 kids, but we make it work. And like I say, it wasn't all about me. I did it for them. But yeah, I realized me wanting a mom and a dad as a kid, and mama, I eventually, lived with my mom on and off. But as a little girl, not having a mom and a dad, and my grandma loved me. I had love, and I had other people in my life, and my mom would come around, but like I didn't live with her as a little girl. But as I grew older, 11, 12, I lived with her back and forth between her, my aunt, my cousin, them. But I think I when I think about it, I think I leaned towards a man who's the man who I have all these children with. I went to him looking for love as a teenager. I was 16
Wow.
I was thinking about that the other night. I went to him looking for love that I didn't have. And I knew when I was a teenager, it wasn't really, really love, but it was comfortability. It was comfort. It was someone to hug me. It was the intimacy, the lust, right? It made up in my mind. I'm young. I didn't know better. It made up for what I didn't have. And I continue, even though I knew it wasn't fulfillment. It wasn't exactly what I what I knew I deserved. I'm thinking back, I always knew this. I knew I deserved more and better, but I accepted it. The idea something is better than nothing. That's kind of what I went with. And yeah, and here I am. Oh, but yeah.
You know what? And it's funny, y'all. I don't know if y'all can see that, but can you see what time I wrote that poem? What day?
10 p.m. on
When?
the
Last night.
Okay. I wrote a poem to my mom and my dad. Can y'all give me like less than 1 minute to read it?
Please, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It says, poem from my heart. In her heart, a wound so deep, mom and dad, the promises they couldn't keep. A daughter lost, a soul astray, seeking love in a world of gray. Mother saw her daughter's body, father turned away, so cold and shoddy, in his arms she longed to be saved, but found only rejection, love depraved. Different faces, the same old game, bad men coming, all the same. In each embrace, she tried to find a parent's love, a heart confined. It's not a loss, it's just time, healing slowly an uphill climb. Through fleeting arms, she sought relief, but only deepened her own grief. In the dark, a light begins, a strength within where healing wins. Facing demons, she starts to see the love she needs must come from she. Mom and dad, their shadows wane, W-A-N-E. In her heart, strength breaks the chain. She learns to love from deep within, a journey where truth life begins. Now knowing her worth, she had to leave from a lover that her heart still bleeds. No longer bound by past cruel ties, she finds herself, her light, her guide. Her past doesn't define who you are. Your past doesn't define who you are, so don't let it keep you from being a star. A light in the dark places, she sought to embrace the love she deserved, her saving grace. In her journey, she claims her place in self-love's gentle, warm embrace. Abandonment scars begins to heal, a daughter's heart finally real. I hope you both are looking down, proud of a daughter who's found her crown. Her true purpose, unwavering and bright, a heart now filled with love and light. Aya Kamal.
That's good.
That was so beautiful. Oh my God.
Yeah, I wrote last night. And I felt so relieved because now I know this is where it all stemmed from, y'all. But the bad relationship, bad friendship, everything, all the triggers, I use those triggers as you hitting me, you trying to stab me. No, those triggers are JJ was screaming at me. This is what you need to work on. This is what, and now I found the root cause. But now that young child that I was a kid having a kid. Now that child's come out to play. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to love. I'm ready to receive love. I'm ready to be loved. I'm now ready to really show true love. I wasn't showing true love then. But if it had not been for,
you said in your poem, excuse me, what I just said, like, I was a little girl looking for this, so I leaned to this.
Yep. So, and that's what you said. And that's why I like, God is so, man, y'all just, Holy Spirit, thank you, Jesus. But you know when I say it, and it remind me of you, because I say it in the arms, no, that's my father, but through fleeting arms, she tried to find a parent's love that couldn't find. But it says too, like what it says, fleeting arms, she sought relief, but only deepened her own grief. I sought love from men. You know, I try to find my father and other men. I try to find my mother
Me too.
All that, you know, the only thing I did was deepen my own grief. And those, what I said, fleeting arms, because, you know, they did come receiving, but it's like, no, it wasn't that. And then, like, I say my mom's my best teacher, and I love my mom to death. Can't nobody ever tell me my mom wrong, because she taught me how to love unconditionally, you know. And she taught me how to be a better mother, because she wasn't a mother. She taught me how to not do drugs. I don't crave for that, because I saw her do that. Everything she did, she taught me how not to be. So that she owed me nothing. My dad, even though I was gonna go tell my mom what she was doing, he rejected me. So it was just like after then, every man I came into my life, they seemed to want me only for sex. That's how it was, It was just like they didn't want to get to know me. And even though I was that sweet, naive person, people used me for that. I'm more than that. But now I'm breaking free of all of that. And not knowing that this poem would actually resonate with what Misha was saying. I wrote that poem to free myself. But it is funny, man. The divine Holy Spirit, boy.
Like you say, the human experience, we all go through the same things in some shape, form, or fashion. It may not be the exact same, but it be the similar things. And what separates us is how we get through the things that we go through. What makes us unique as human beings is how we deal with the things that we go through. The things.
Fear and that failure. How do you embrace that? Because I already told y'all I'm full of love. I love love, so I like talking about love. And it's just like if you fail in a relationship, how do you embrace that? How do you embrace failure? Like even in business or relationships, how do you embrace that? I can't speak for every woman, but if I go into a relationship, at least I thought I was, but I'm not perfect. But when I go into a relationship, I wanted to be I want to go all in and I want to be right, but it doesn't always go that way. So how do you embrace failure? Would you see it as failure? And then basically embracing fear as well, because it's like if I'm on a motorcycle now, I fall off dang on there, kill myself. I'm gonna be scared to get back on there. How do you embrace fear and failure?
Fear and failure. For me, I think that fear is one of those things I kind of just always ran from because it was uncomfortable. The problem with not facing fear is that you just put it off. You just put off the inevitable from happening. So when it comes to letting go and letting go of failed relationships, I can talk about a marriage that I've now been separated for 1 year. Yeah, it can be seen as a failure if I choose to look at it that way. I personally am choosing not to look at it as a failure, but more of just a transition in life. Because I say it all the time. I see people lose spouses in multiple ways. So I'm not going to be angry about the way my marriage ended. It could have been different. So my perspective on it is that of it could have been worse. Even though it is not the way, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I wouldn't wish it on anybody to go through what I went through. It still could have been worse. So
how did you come to peace with it? Because seems like you're okay with it. Like, how did you do that?
I agree.
Because at first, I'm sure it had to be hard.
I grieved it. I cried, I yelled, I snotted, I laid around, I was just, and then once I couldn't cry anymore, it was kind of like, what now? What are we gonna do today? And it's like, well, should I keep crying? There's no more tears. You can't cry forever. So I had to do little things like change the music I listen to, right? Like I love old school anything music, but if it's because there's a lot of attachment, emotions attached to the songs, I had to stop listening.
You had to start listening to that gangster rap music, nigga. Fuck. No, I'm joking.
You gotta throw a little bit of that in. I started listening to less. We're talking about practical tools, right? I started listening to less songs that had words because I realized I was attaching emotions to words. I'm talking about base level stuff here, like simple stuff. You would think nobody would even, but when it keeps you stuck for hours out of the day, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Oh, yeah.
You need to work through it. So grieving is important because I have it written down here. I'm just going to read it to you.
When I was grieving, it was just bad.
I mean, it
but we all go through it.
That's my point. Grieving is life is suffering. And so because life is suffering and we know that, then we have to. So grieving should be done in a healthy manner. That's the problem. We're gonna grieve.
Right.
But grieving can be something as simple as pouring one out and moving on. Or grieving could be,
And it's a very dark place because I felt like it was no way out. I only saw one way out, when I was grieving. And imagine.
I'm sorry, but that way you found out was because you had to dig within yourself.
Yeah.
To create that solution. It's just problems and solution. Everything's math. Everything's nature.
I tell myself, get up, Aya, get up. Verbally.
That's it. And you listened to yourself. That's the key also, that a lot of us, because there is a higher self and in our regular self that this is who we conversate with every day, right? And so to listen to your higher self, that's authority. You get power to yourself. It's this exchange that happens.
And I was just like, okay. And I'm telling myself to get up. And I'm answering myself. I said, okay, I'm about to. And it was crazy. It was just like, and I kid you not, I had to crawl to the bathroom. I take 3 showers a day. I only took 1 shower a day. And barely wanted to do that. I didn't eat, didn't do anything. It was just like, woe is me. But once I got up and I got out that shower,
yes,
that person
felt.
Was not the same person. And I was just like, it was just so much stuff coming to me. So I wrote this book, the workbook, Mending Hearts, on how to, it took about a month though, and then I started writing. I was just paying attention to everything that was going on instead of me, like normally I'll get in a relationship, break up. Hey, look, the attachment is on point. Bye, I'm going to the next. But I never sat with myself.
That's right.
Never had a chance to sit with myself, and I did that. So, with everybody and seeing all of this, and I'm not the one to post people on my thing, and I thought this person was gonna be my whole world. I started posting him. Worst thing I ever did. But Misha, I want you to answer this. And I already got the answer. I'm just asking you this. How do you deal with like negativity and criticism? How do you handle that? How would you teach the viewers on how to handle that? Because you can no matter like me, I'm not gonna tell you everything this person did to me wrong. Misha may know, but I'm not gonna tell the world. But that person may or may not have made me the villain in his story. So I don't know. And he probably has made me a villain in his story, but how can you tell people how you tell people how to handle that, dealing with criticism, and even though you're not to blame, and this person is I won't say you're not to blame because everybody plays a role in whatever happens.
Right.
Yeah, but how would you handle criticism?
So, criticism is basically when someone critiques you and basically sum you up in a bad way, right? Shayna, help me out. That's criticism, right?
I can look up the actual definition if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead, look it up.
I love definitions, words,
Me
etymology, words. So let me just get the Webster, whoever's definition, just so I make sure that we are. All right. Criticism, the expression. So it's an expression of disapproval of someone or something based on perceived faults or mistakes. So you think someone is in the wrong and you express a disapproval towards them.
Okay, so if someone expresses a disapproval towards me, I go within and I check myself, like I seriously do this. I'm like, um, um, well, did I do this? How can I fix it? Where did I go wrong at? And I see the other person's perspective, but most of the time, and I'm not perfect, but I pride myself in, treating people right, doing right by people, loving and caring people. Like I pride myself on doing that, right? So here lately, situations that I've been in and I've been criticized in is people not seeing the whole story, because there's two sides to every story. And I often have been telling myself, like, just, I that's where okay, so boom. I was criticized in a situation, right? And I didn't and I had my role in it, but I wasn't all the way wrong. It's the other party not wanting to be all the way accountable. And in every situation, my uncle taught me, he'd say, Nisa, in every situation, somebody has to be the bad guy. When something goes wrong, someone has to be the villain. Somebody has to be the bad guy. That's why it went wrong. Um, and most people like to make you the villain. Most people like to make you the bad guy when they don't want to be accountable. So what I do is just, you know, go within and figure out where I went wrong, what I can do better next time. And I've been telling myself, like, the truth comes to the light. Just sit back and it'll play out and people will see the truth. Because in a situation where I was perceived as the one to have done wrong, when I know, like, I've only tried to be, like, a good person, a mother, a lover, and a friend, and I've been perceived as a problem causer, when that's definitely not the case. So what I've been telling myself is, and what I can tell the viewers who are listening, if they're in a situation to where they know that they've only been trying to love and care and be a good person, and they may have their role in it, as far as feeding into the drama, feeding into the negativity. Yes, I've done that, you know but if you just sit back and again, we all have our story, right? Everybody has a book, right? Our life is a book. From the day we're born to the day we pass, that's our book in my mind. And if you just sit back, the pages will turn, and people will be able to read deeper into the story. So, you can't make people see your point of view. You can't make people like you. You can't make people love you. But if you just sit back and be patient, people will see what's real. People, they will. And that's where I'm at right now in my life, and that's my advice. Like, if you've been judged or perceived to be in a way that you don't agree with, and that really don't align with who you are, and the journey that you're on in your life, if people see you in a light that uh is not who you are, just sit back and people will see the truth. So that's my advice. Just be patient.
Shane, I have something for you and your
Okay.
book, or the Noble Eight.
Yeah.
So commitment and emotional intelligence. How would that fit into the Noble Eight?
Emotional intelligence and commitment.
Yeah, like, okay, the importance of seeing things through to completion, and understanding that high emotions can impair logical thinking. Like, okay, if I'm upset with someone, that really impacts my logical thinking. I'm not thinking clearly. How can I use your book as a role map?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. If you see what I'm.
So absolutely. So the Noble Eightfold Path is a simple concept because it's all about understanding the right way to do things. I love using that terminology too, for the simple fact that a lot of people will get caught up in, well, there's no right and wrong.
Right.
But there is. There is. So where there isn't, that's the dichotomy, right? Every hot, cold, up, down, blah, blah, blah. But so what's simple is complicated, what's complicated is simple. When it comes to, I'll use the story real quick.
Say it one more time.
What's complicated is simple, and what's simple is complicated.
It's true.
It's the dichotomy, right? So I'll say it this way, when and I'll use my personal experience. So when I was before I got married, I operated only in a state of emotion. But I'm a happy person. I want everybody to get along. So for me, it kind of made sense to do. But that goes back to the good girl, naive thing, right? So it wasn't until I met my spouse that I learned emotional intelligence. That's because he's a software engineer who we used to sit up for hours and hours and hours at night. And I used to watch him code. And I used to ask questions like, how does that work? What is logic? What is it? I mean, I asked every question I could think of. But what it taught me was you need both. See, I didn't just say, oh, let me adopt this logic mindset and just do away with emotion. You need both. So that is what emotional intelligence is. And I put here just gain emotional intelligence. You'll understand the use. You'll understand the use and necessity of emotions, right? And when you use them, how to control them and how to understand their range. Because again, emotions have a great range. That's what emotional intelligence is. Mm-hmm. Not acting like a toddler, right? who you can't tell them anything. It's being able to say 1 + 1 is 2. And and good is better, but good plus wrong could end up either way, and bad plus bad usually isn't going to end up good. So it's just kind of having a basic understanding of the world. And then you asked something else after the emotional intelligence.
That's what I asked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You got it pretty good. And you're saying that. So maybe Misha, you can help me out on this. So how making a significant impact? How can that attract criticism and opposition? Because the reason why I asked that is because when I was talking about emotion and logic, right? So we're trying to make truth be told, the nice girl, we're trying to get rid of those habits, right? So how can I word it? So how can this making a significant impact of not using, just mastering, I guess, keeping a balance of the emotion and logic, right? You got to keep a balance of both of them because, and I know we were talking about detachment and stuff. So just for the viewers who's in here now, and I was just talking to my daughter when I went over there. So the bad girl, being a nice girl equals being a bad girl to some people, right? Having detachments equals not having feelings, not having emotions to some people. And my daughter read my thing. She like, Mom, how can you have emotions how can you have logic without emotions? So how can us doing all of this, how can that make a significant impact? And it does attract criticism and opposition, just like she called me over there a few minutes ago. Because talking about it's very important, and it does. What we're doing is gonna attract certain things, and everybody's not gonna agree with us. I was just telling her it's not gonna agree with us. So how can you one of you guys tell the viewers without misleading them what we're actually talking about? Because she was saying you can't have. She was reading on the thing, and she was like, you can't have logic without emotions.
Honestly, I'm going to tell you what a guy taught me, and he's a very, very smart guy. And when he said this, so I'm glad you said this helped me. I was on the verge of sliding into the slope of depression, okay? I was laying down. I was heartbroken. I was, oh, why me? Why me? And then I asked him, how do you deal with heartbreak and getting over somebody you love and care about? And he told me, he said he think logic over emotion. And I said, huh? He said, most people say that I don't have emotions. He said, but I have emotions and I've loved. He said, but when I think logic over emotion, I think about the overall situation, and I looked at the overall situation versus just being all emotional. And once he told me that, I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. So while I was sitting here drowning in my own misery, like I said, I would get up and do stuff to get my mind off of it. But when I'm in behind these four walls, I would be all in my emotions, all in my feelings. But once I looked at the logic side, well, I looked at the facts and the details. And so once I looked at the facts and the details, then I removed my emotions from the situation. So
Right.
once so like kind of like Shayna saying, like it's like going within. And once you go within and you look at all the details and all the facts involved, then you remove your emotions from the shit. And and this is making me poke my chest out. Cause again, I'm kind of like in between, like I'm kind of like still fucked up. And I'm gonna be honest, because I went and had sex with this fool. I hate I did that. That's and sex can be, women see sex at we tie our, most women, sometimes we don't, but most of us tie our emotions to sex. And some people just do it for fun. I don't do it for fun, especially with somebody I've been with. I do it with deep emotion. And that's why, like I say, I'm kind of like on a seesaw of my emotions and logic. But I'm glad I'm speaking on this, because what the guy taught me, like when I step back and look at all that I told you, that's being logical. Logical is like looking at, like really, really thinking and using common sense of the overall situation. And when you do that, you remove your emotions from the shit. Because
You
our
have,
emotions,
you have to.
as Shayna said, when we put our emotions in it, that's what make us that's what make you slump your shoulders and hold your head down. But when you think of the logic, you like, hold up, like this da da da
Like
da, you
this,
know what I'm
this
saying?
they don't
So
add up, or this the calculations. Wait a minute.
yeah.
That's
And
what
that's what the guy told me without explaining. He said, you got to always think logic. He said that's why he don't have heartbreak. That's why he don't get sad and depressed over relationships that don't work out. He always think logic over, and he's a very, very smart dude. He said he always think logic over emotion.
And that comes with detaching as well, right? That doesn't mean that your detachment is absent of love. She missed the first part of it. So she was just reading through the thing.
yeah.
And that does not mean that detachment is the absence of love. That does not mean detachment is the absence of emotions.
That's right.
You're using more logical things about it. But yeah. Okay, she's listening. But anyway, thank you, Misha. I appreciate it. But I mean, like my kids, they'll check me on some stuff. Like, Mom, this ain't making
They
sense.
should.
Yeah.
Can I just say really quickly to that? You were talking about criticism earlier. We have to also welcome criticism too, and then keep the constructive criticism, right, and throw the away. So I've kind of gotten to the point where I can take criticism and do exactly that. Now, if it's something, but I have to go within to see if it's something am I throwing away something I really need to be considering and resonating on, right? So again, if somebody walked past me and been like and was like, "You ugly," I would be like, whatever, because I'm not gonna take it, I'm not gonna receive it, I'm not gonna think about it. I'm just gonna block it. And so that's almost what you have to do, is take what's positive out of the criticism that you need to hear. Your daughter, for example, coming to you and asking that, she's just asking you how to explain it better.
Right. Yeah.
And that's causing you to have to think through the mechanics. Okay.
I couldn't even get it out how I wanted it, but Misha answered it absolutely great. And it's funny, Shayna, because we're on the last page of the thing, and you're talking about attacks, right? So the thing is, how to use a text as motivation to strengthen your resolve and commitment. What? How did I write that? How to use a text as motivation to strengthen your resolve and commitment. I don't even know how I wrote this, but anyway, how do you use it as motivation? I don't know. I'm sorry.
Ooh, I think that's a hard one. It's a process that I'm still on. I will say I've not arrived anywhere.
You're not alone. You are not alone, girl. We're all in the wilderness.
Text. That's how I my text.
Yeah. I think that my biggest thing, because I had to learn me, I had to learn my triggers, I had to learn the things that bring me down. Mm-hmm. And it could be subtle things, right? So I had to learn what those subtle triggers were. It's not a big trigger. It could be something really small, like, oh, you didn't text me back, and I texted you like 30 minutes ago. I'm just you know what I'm saying. It could be something insignificant. But right. the point is not when you learn how to remove the emotions, when you learn that everyone has their time and place, then if attack doesn't feel like an attack, you're not phasing me. It rolls right off of me. And if I'm around people who are attacking me, then I need to see if I am putting myself in the right environment.
Right.
That's good. That's good.
It goes twofold, kind of.
And then, we're talking about triggers as well. And then that nice girl thing, it's like, okay, like when I wrote in my poem that I know my worth now, so I had to remove myself for the heart from a lover that my heart still bleeds, right? So the guy could never choose me. It had to be me, her, him, her, not him. Oh God, y'all.
I know what you mean.
But yeah, all of these other people, even if it's the children, the mother, father, everything, all of these third party energies, right? So it was just like, that was a trigger for me because it had me look at myself because I was like, okay, he's choosing everybody over me.
Woo.
So therefore, I had to go within and I had to get my ego out the way. I was like, I'm never taking him back because he chose this person over me. He chose his job over me. He chose this over me. But I had to look at myself because what are my insecurities? Am I insecure with my... So that helped. That trigger helped me. I had to work on no, you're not. I'm not an option. So therefore, you can't choose me. So that's not even in my vocabulary. You did what you wanted to do. You showed up how you wanted to show up. So you went for yours. Now it's time for me to go for mine. I am not an option. So therefore, you cannot choose me. So I had to go within and look in. That was a trigger like that. He chose somebody over me. And it hurt me.
Nisha, what she just said, I couldn't have said any better. You choose somebody else over moi?
Mm-hmm.
We out. And I would look at it this way too. Use other things to help push you along, to help encourage you. Those children, and they see the truth. So they will also let us know about ourselves.
Oh yeah.
So that's a gift, mama. That's a gift that the creator handed you directly. Okay, you images, little mini yous running around, telling you, showing you, helping you see how to be better. They need you more than anything, and so it doesn't take away anything from their father at all, right? Mm-hmm. You doing what's best for you and looking out for you, and you have to put you first. It's just like when you're in an airplane. If the plane is going down, they say you got to put your thing on first. You can't put the oxygen mask on the person, even your child. You have to make sure you have oxygen first.
Right.
So it's where I would look at maybe do some journaling, but how are you valuing yourself? And I think that's something she mentioned when we first got on here about the value you set for yourself being so important. Because if you're valuing yourself to accept that, then you may very well be devaluing yourself,
Let me ask you, Shayna and Misha, what is integrity and character to you guys? What is that? What does that mean to Shayna? Misha, what does that mean to Misha? Integrity and character.
So integrity is how you view yourself. It's what you do when no one is looking. It's your
Mm-hmm.
values, it's your core beliefs, your values. Is who you are. And it's deep down in you, like who you are. Integrity. Um and character is how you operate, how you think, how you speak, how you act. That's my definition of character. And I can say this, I remember, I don't know if I told you, I remember Karen told me one time when I was doing something, she was like, Misha, do you have, when I was dating this person, she was like, you dating a person that's in jail, in prison. Do you have any integrity? And I didn't even know what integrity meant. I'm thinking, integrity, what is that?
Wow.
But but now but now I realize like what she meant. Like what do you think? Like what are your values? What are your beliefs? So
Yeah.
What is Misha's character? How would we do? How would you describe yourself? How would you? How people probably don't see you, but this is how you are.
I'm a loving, caring person who I just want peace, happiness, and joy is everything to me. I like nice things. I like shiny things. You told me the other day that something about me being materialistic. I like material things, but that, like with or without them, they don't make me. I teach my kids is who you are within. A hairdo, girl, look at these braids. Look at these. A hairdo don't make me.
I am.
A car.
I don't like this. I gotta. My hair and nails has to be done. So that I mean, that's just people like shopping, like get shoes. I like getting my hair done.
I like all that stuff too, but who I am is who I am is a loving, caring person in my heart and my soul. And I don't like, I see a lot of women, men too, but women especially, they get all these BBLs, they get breasts, they get their teeth done. Oh, they look like a masterpiece on the outside, but inside they're broken people. They're they don't have no type of care for no one but themselves. They're not considerate, they're not kind, they're mean girls. And I think you have to be a loving, caring person at heart. You have to care about somebody other than yourself, and that's who I am. Again, I work so hard and I teach my children that you need to make sure that the okay, yeah, looking pretty on the outside, that's wonderful, but we need to look good on the inside, meaning our character, meaning having integrity, meaning being a good person. That's what I work on, often, because once you are who are once you look good on the inside, if we as people cared as much about who we are at the core of us, the world would be a better place because we would be better. But most people don't. Most people, like I say, they just want to make sure the outer appearance is nice, but the inside is like shit. Again, I tell my kids, like, some people are dressed up bums. You can see people in a Gucci, Louis Vuitton outfit, but at the core of them, they're like a nasty, mean person. Like, that's never me. Like, again, I'm always working on being a peaceful, loving, caring person. Like, that's who I am. And long as I'm working on me from the inside, then the outside will eventually. I mean, I know I'm not an ugly person. It don't take much, but that's the reason why, again, hairdo, nails. I love that. But I love that. But that don't make me. That don't make me because again, I know that I'm a pretty person inside out. So yeah.
Shayna, what does character and integrity means to you, and who is who is Shayna? Somebody else doesn't know who is Shayna. But first, give us what is integrity and what is character to you.
I'll say integrity and character definitely go hand in hand. For sure. And integrity is that the buildup, I think, of the character overall. And I like the broken down pieces is the integrity of the character. And I find it interesting because when I look at the word character, I think of a movie. I think of a facade. I think of a pretend somebody pretending. But character actually means who you are on the inside.
Right.
I love how the words get twisted and we don't understand. Character, at the end of the day, that's all I have is my character. Because I've got a lot of things, I've lost a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing I can hold on to and really care for and cultivate and carefully is my character. And so that's what I'm always like, okay, I've lost things. So then I'm like, okay, what can I hold on? What can I take care of? What can I hold dear that no one can take from me? So for me, I treasure it so much now, where it's like, this is who I am. This is what you get. I might not have much of anything going on or for me or accolades behind my name or letters, but I have my character. And because I value it so highly, I won't let anybody come in and diminish it or tell me that it's any less
Right.
than it is. And then what was the other question you asked?
Who is Shannon? Shannon? Yeah, that somebody that doesn't know you. Well, they think they know you, but they really don't. Who is Shayna Cox?
That's a great question because I'm such an open book, like in so many ways, intentionally, because I feel like we're all part of this big ecosystem and we all just have shared experiences and we can all learn and grow from each other. I'm an empath. I'm changing, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm excited to be alive. I'm a grandmother. I want to live another 50 years, hopefully. I'm a doubter. I have all the questions in the world. I'm still learning who I am. Um, I'm working on my authenticity, my voice. I'm also working on accepting myself for who I am and all my flaws. Because I just feel like I'm just such a work in progress. But I do feel like when it comes to integrity and character, I'm always hitting those points. Is this thing that I'm thinking, this thing I'm about to do, this question that I have, how does it line up? And does it fall in, or is it like something contrary that I need to look at a little bit further? So I would say I am a work in progress.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, to me, integrity and character is like it's being authentic and consistent, even when no one is watching. Okay, and me should tell you, I have so much discipline. Like when I'm focused, I'm focused. No phone calls, no nothing. I'm focused, and I don't only have to appear that way in front of the public. Behind the scenes, I'm very strategic. I'm structured, and I'm very disciplined. So I'm that without anyone looking. Even not only towards business, but even with friendships, relationships, any relationship, I'm loyal. I don't have to be that way with you only in your face. I can do that behind your back. And the importance of like the characters lining my message up with my actions. And I asked everybody this because we're going to get into the warrior woman. What is a warrior woman? And also, it's like people have to know who you are first because they see we're loyal. You're an empath, so of course I'm an empath as well. Misha is too. Of course, you're gonna attract dysfunctional people in your life. I mean, that's what empaths do. But empaths will come into your life to teach you love, true love. I'm serious. And they come into our life to teach us how to love ourselves. That's how I feel anyway. But oh, what is that? Okay, hold on, y'all. I'm so sorry.
You're okay.
Okay, so that's what we're leading into, because the title of breaking, you know, just the nice girl thing and knowing our worth. Misha, I asked you guys that question about integrity, how you see yourself, and you know, different questions that I asked you that, because we're leading now into warrior woman. So, what is a warrior woman to you, Misha or Shannon?
I say a warrior woman is a woman who is a strong fighter, and I definitely consider myself a warrior woman, because life is you know, it's a fight. You gotta stay strong. You gotta be tough. You gotta fight. You gotta be able to take some blows. You gotta be able to give some blows. When you get knocked down, you gotta be able to get back up. You gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. I didn't understand. I like Eric Thomas. I didn't understand his podcast. He always say, you know, it's a dog fight. It's a dog fight. And I asked somebody one day, like, it's a dog fight? What does that mean? And they said, you know, dogs fight until one of them dies. That's what dogs do when they fight. And so, um, I I associate that with my life. Like until I can't anymore, I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna strive. I'm using fight as the word, not physical fight, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I'm gonna fight until I can't anymore. You know, no matter how many times I get knocked back down, I'm gonna stand back up and I'm gonna do what I gotta do mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I'm gonna fight. So
Yeah.
that would be my take on a warrior woman, a woman who fights, a woman who don't give up, a woman who keeps going and going and going. And again, if she get knocked down 6 times, she get up 7. She get knocked down 8 times, she get up 9. It's the fact of keep going and never give up. So yeah.
What you think a woman, Wonder Warrior?
Warrior woman.
Wonder Woman. A warrior woman to me, I think we're born that way. And I think that in our core, naturally, we are fighters. We're survivors, right? And to be a survivor, you have to be a warrior. So having the warrior spirit, and knowing when to be gentle, knowing when to be fierce, it makes you a powerful, you know, ruler, really. So, you know, you want to move from just, you know, fighting and being a warrior to a commander almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can only do that once you've gone through some battles. So I just say, like, you know, as you go through life, you'll learn the cycles. You'll learn to see the battles. You'll learn to see the things coming. You'll learn yourself how to deal through them, how to work through them, and come out on the other side victorious. And I think that's really, you know, what it ends up being about. But I think we're born like as warriors. I think we have the strength we need early. It's just cultivating it.
Yeah, and I have many principles I live by. I put some, you know, a few of them in the chat box. And one of them is there's nothing I can't be, do, or have. And you saying that we were born with that, I feel like I was born with that. I know a lot of people some people may not believe that, but it's in us. You know, it's not on us, it's in us. So there's nothing that I don't want, that I want to be, that I can't be. There's nothing that I want to do that I can't do. There's nothing that I want to have that I can't have. That's how I believe it. And I've been like that since I've been really knowing myself. That's ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. That's a gift. It's a gift.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like You know, the best thing that came out of life, and when I turned 40, that's when I really found myself. That's crazy, isn't it? It's like you had to live on
Me
that
too.
life to find out who you are. But it's like it's been like so much, and that's crazy. Just lost my train of thought. But I said in my poem, you're not defined by who you are, what you've been through, but it's just who you are. And I believe that, Shayna, because I never spoke that out. Like, because people always make excuses, but I feel like we're all born as warriors. We're all, and then especially a woman now, if you could give birth, you could create life. You can't tell me that anything you want to do, you can do.
Anything.
You create life. Like we're not God, but we birth life. I'm put it like that.
We're creators.
There you go. Yeah, and I have to keep correcting myself, and I appreciate all the people who listen that critique me and the Truth Be Told episode, and because it's like we have to, like, people hold me accountable. Now it's truth be told, you gotta tell the truth. And like my daughter, like, don't be misleading people. She didn't get the concept of being logic with no emotions. To me, she broke it down. You know what I'm saying? It's more. It goes more into this. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying women are God. So please don't take it that way. Please.
Only the people who, and that's the other part. The message that we're talking about isn't anything that hurts anyone. It only lifts and empowers us. But right. You're gonna get criticism, like you said. So you just take the positive, leave what you don't need, and you keep it, and you keep growing from it. And eventually you will get to the point where you're saying the things the way you want to say them and how they need to be said. And then, but strengthening yourself, I take it like, hey, you know what? I can grow from that.
Right. That's what I feel like a warrior woman is, for those who don't believe that they're born with that capability or that title as a warrior woman. But it's just like, it's your hardships that shapes your character, your persistence and resilience. It's all of that that makes you that warrior woman. And y'all, we have to take our power back. We have to learn self-respect. It all starts with us. And you have to know your worthiness, because I had to choose me. Since that guy that I felt like was going to be my all, that's who I was going to grow old with. It didn't turn out that way. Now, we never know how things can go around, but my ego is telling me I will not backtrack.
That's right.
I won't go back. But we never know what may happen. But right now, my ego is telling me, no, you'll never go back. But because I know my worth. I don't want you to go and choose somebody else and then realize I messed up. Because I told you was the end all be all. You don't get a second chance with me. So that's why I wanted to do this title, because it's the internet nice girl. It like you said in the beginning, Shayna, if my memory serves me right, it got me hurt being that nice girl. It got me hurt, and it's not a double-edged sword at all. It just, I think I have to know my worth, and I have to set boundaries.
That's right. So you said know your worth, right? Mm-hmm. I definitely know my worth. And you're acting as if you don't know your worth, on this. People, who gives a fuck what people say? Because as Shayna just said, this podcast is to motivate, encourage, and inspire. If anybody see anything less or any negativity in it, then fuck them. This isn't for them. This is only to encourage, inspire, and motivate. And we're giving our stories. We can't give our whole life story. Again, I'm almost 40, you're 40, however old she. We can't give our whole life story. We can't tell every time we cry, every time we've been sad, every time we've been mad. And a person who's looking for that, they're looking in the wrong fucking place anyway. So this isn't for them. This podcast is for someone who is looking to seek to be inspired and encouraged. A
That's
person who's looking on here for us to tell all our drama, all our pain, all our hardship, they're not for us anyway. This isn't for you. So who gives a damn about what they're looking for? And they're not gonna get what they want because what they're looking for is not here. So fuck them, you know?
Yeah.
That's I know my word fully when it comes to that. Like when it comes to people's opinion about me, and that's where like me knowing like my intention is good and pure. Like it don't bother me certain things, most of the things what people say about me, because I know my intention, I know my reason, I know my character. Sometimes it do when it's somebody really, really close. And that's where again I said I just lean on sit back, cross your arms and your legs, and they'll see the truth, you know, eventually. So,
amen.
All right. So we got a few minutes. We're about to close out. Shannon, you have anything? We have 8 minutes left.
Ooh, I love the number 8.
Yeah, I love it.
Goodness gracious, I don't even know where to start. It was a really, really great comprehensive conversation. I back to emotional intelligence and just I would say always look for strategies. Always look for strategies. So everything in the metaphysical manifests itself in the physical. So that thing you're trying to do, that thing you're trying to get over, that thing you're trying to get past, grief and the pain, and it takes time, right? It takes time. So you definitely want to be really patient with yourself. You want to gain the right understanding. I highly recommend anybody, if any of this, what we're talking about resonates with you, Google the Noble Eightfold Path. It's literally just 8 words that just gives you a roadmap on how to look within yourself, right? I recommend implementing strategies that just really help you stay grounded. Again, only you know what it is. And that's the beauty of this. If I need to go for a walk every morning or at night, if I need to be by some water, if I need to light incense or candles around me, whatever it is that I need to create the space for growth, then I have to do it. And you do the same thing, right? And again, only you know what works for you. Like, do you need it quiet and no sound and nobody can be in there and you need to zone in, or can you have music playing? And like, you have to find out, you have to learn yourself. I think this conversation is just really emphasizing the fact that, we have to learn who we are in our authentic self.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I want to piggyback on what you're saying and add to it. It's like we build character through adversity. I'm looking at my notes right now and making sure that we don't miss anything. And if you don't take anything else away from this today, just know that you could be whoever you want to be. And like Misha said, the people who are on here that listen to us, some people may get it, some people ain't. If it ain't for you, it's not for you. But I said from the beginning, I do not want this to be even though we're coming with our truth, and this is a platform where no judgmental, nothing is judged here. You could come lay it all on the table. You won't be judged here. It's not a trauma bonding podcast. It's not a podcast where you come see cat fights and hear cat fights and hear some about what somebody else doing. This is our story. We can only tell you about us. So it's here to inspire you. And I mean, like, even with the title going from nice girl, breaking the nice girl habits, and becoming a master confidence and self-respect and worthiness. What really stuck out to me was worthiness. That's the most important thing that I had to find out myself. And Shayna, you mentioning when you put up that picture about triggers, it just set me off because it resonated with me because of the workbooks that I created. And it is about triggers. Triggers are not to hurt you. Triggers are to teach you what you need to work on.
Wow. That's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so that's how I resonated with it. That's how I took it. And it's like I wrote in my poem, what is it? Lost. it's not anything. It's not anything that you lost. It was just time to give that up.
Yeah.
So, you know, even though I feel like, okay, I lost this person, it was just time for me to get that person up. That person came in my life for a reason. He taught me how to love myself. And I really appreciate him for that. There's no hard feelings at all. People say, why you don't hate him for this and that? I love that man, because guess what that man did? That man taught me how to love myself. And he's now opened that door wide up. That heart chakra wide up. Because he did break down some wall. I had a wall up when I met him. So now I'm able to love freely. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to come on this journey with me. But now I'm able to love freely, and now somebody's going to get a better version of Aya. And I can't, you know, ask for anything else. But had I not met that person, people may say betrayal. No, it wasn't betrayal. He showed me what I wanted, what I didn't want. So it's not betrayal. He showed up as himself, as he should. Mm-hmm. So he showed me the truth. So there was no betrayal in that. And so that's what I want to leave you all with today. And Misha, you got anything before we close it out?
As I always say, you know, life has its own challenges. Life has its beautiful parts, you know. We just have to focus on what we want to see and do what it takes to make sure that we have peace and happiness in our life, because everyone deserves peace and happiness, you know. And as I said earlier, peace and happiness it could mean something, it could look differently to everyone, but whatever that is to you, I just hope, and my wish for everyone is that they find peace and happiness within their life. And as long as I'm here on this earth, my journey is to find peace and happiness, you know. Absolutely. And I wish that for everyone else.
Shana, you have anything?
Ditto.
All right.
Ditto.
Well, y'all, this is the episode of Truth Be Told. Be unfuckwithable. Breaking the Nice Girl Habits to master confidence, self-respect, and worthiness. So we're going to end this right now. So go ahead, and if you haven't already, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, and comment on our YouTube page, and just share it with your loved ones. And also, we encourage feedback, constructive feedback. And I know we're not here for everybody, but whatever you have for us, just please let us know. We'll be happy to hear from you. All right, till next time, we'll see you guys later.